Hi Stitchers, I'm Judy. I'm here with my first video blog on stitching. I've followed many of you video bloggers for a long time, and I've learned so much just from your ideas and looking at your WiPS, your fabric and color choices, and some of your hauls. It's just been fun to see. So I'd like to do my own, partly for me just to keep me accountable for my stitching, because lately I've been kind of in a stitching slump, and just to share with you guys what I've been working on. So thumbs up to you guys that have been video blogging. You're doing an awesome job, and thank you so much for sharing. First of all, I'd like to show you what I have bought, and it's really not much at all. But I found this Gentle Arts color. It's called Mediterranean Sea, and it's really a very rich teal. It matches my shirt, but it looks blue purplish here. And what I'd like to stitch with it is my Big Toe namesake sampler. And I've had this in my stash for quite some time, and trying to figure out what colors to use. It calls for 2 different colors, and the pattern uses Midnight and Cranberry Gentle Arts. But I'd like to try something else. I dug in my stash and I found this 32 count Belfast toasted almond. Really a pretty color, but it's kind of peachy. And I put my teal thread against it, and I'm not really sure. It looks okay here, but in real life I'm just wondering if it's too much. So I may end up going with cream, and I haven't really decided what color goes with teal, but that's in my to-do project. And if you noticed here on the pattern, you can see like the different flowers and such that they have around here that show the contrasting colors, and also like through the lettering and stuff you can see it. I thought also about using a variegated thread, or a more variegated thread, and just using one color. So this weekend I'm going to kind of look at some thread and see what I can find. I also bought an Ann cloth for stitching counted cross stitch on it. It's 18 count. And I have a pattern that I've had for about 30 years. And yes, I've been stitching that long. And this one here, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's a heart design, and that goes in one block. And then up here, it's some alphabet, and then you just alternate around the afghan. I bought this in the late 80s, early 90s, and it uses the pinks and the mauves DMC. And I've stitched it before, so I'm just looking for something easy and quick, but with me, nothing is ever quick. I am really a slow stitcher, and then I pick big projects. So that really is pretty much for my hauls. I have a stash, and I dug in it, and I found some 36 count doubloon from Picture This Plus, one of my favorite fabrics. And I have some Glory Anna Cranberry. And with this I'm going to be stitching the French alphabet sampler for a good friend of mine. And so I'm anxious to get started on this, but I have tons of other projects that I need to get done. This week I decided to try to organize my patterns. I've done it several different ways, and why I never did it this way I don't know, but I bought a binder and plastic sleeves, and I just put all my patterns together. Once I get all my patterns in here, I'm going to sort them by samplers and Hardanger and PDFs and things like that. So as you can see here, get this up closer, here's a pattern, and then just going through here, And this works really great for these smaller patterns too, just putting them inside here. Here's a PDF that I bought. This one is snow crystals. Another project to do. I should have a binder just of projects that I want to do. And as you can see, just different ones here. So far I have 2 binders full, which probably is a lifetime stash right there for me, but I have a few other ones I'm going to do. But if you're considering doing this, it really is an awesome way of keeping your patterns together. I can't begin to tell you how many patterns I have rebought just because I can't find a page, or I've made a copy somewhere and I don't know where I put it, and this way it's all together. Good idea. Okay, now for my WiPS. My first one that I'm going to talk about is Cornwall Cottage Sampler by Rosewood Manor. Beautiful, beautiful pattern. Thank you, Karen. The colors are so rich in it, it's really doesn't do it justice on the picture. And this is how much I have gotten completed so far, as you can see here. And the reds are really beautiful with the green. Very, very rich. It's really actually a fun pattern to stitch. So I have that on my pile. And here's an older one that I have that's just been kind of sitting around that I need to get back to. And this one is Quaker Virtues. I know some of you have stitched this. It's an older pattern as well, and I've done this in red, as you can see. And what I like, and actually this has been an easy pattern, I bought a ball of DMC 8, I believe, color 814, and just using one strand of thread. I believe this is 28 count Country Mocha, and it just goes by really fast. And one thing I really like about DMC, which I found for myself, is that the dye lot really doesn't change that much, or my experience anyway. So I did buy enough thread to finish it. Now I just need to finish it. And so for the contrasting color, I have Weeks Dye Works, and that's called Merlin. And sometimes it looks navy blue, but actually I think it's kind of a bluish purple. So that's another WIP. Then I love that pattern so much I decided to start it in a different color and thread. How crazy is that, right? So I have this one, and this one is done in Wood Smoke, Gentle Arts Wood Smoke, which really has a beautiful brown variegation to it. Here's a, I don't know if you can see that, but here's a beautiful brown variegation. And then for the contrasting color, I have Crescent Colors St. Bernard. You can see in the pack here, and that's a green variegation. And those are very pretty together. So I need to get busy and work on this. I haven't found a great way to rotate my stash. I find myself, if I spend too much time on one project, I get bored, or I find fault with it, or I just have to keep switching, and then I never get anything done. And of course there's always new patterns coming out, which is worse yet. So please, if you have any ideas for me, I'd really appreciate it. The next one that I'm working on is called The Apostles' Creed by My Big Toe. This also has beautiful colors to it. these ones are the Gentle Art Simply Shaker colors, and they're all pretty much neutral tones. You have browns, greens, and tans. This one is maple syrup. This one, gold, beautiful gold, is Old Hickory. And so I will show you my piece, and I haven't really gotten very far on it at all, but I will show you here in a second. So I keep everything straight here. Oh, and this was the week's dye work for the Cornwall Cottage. But this is what I have for the Apostles' Creed. Very rich, earthy tones to it. Beautiful. Really beautiful. And then my next WIP, yes, there's still more, is a pattern I haven't touched for a while either, but now that it's mid-year, it's time to be thinking about Christmas again. And this is the Quaker Christmas 2 pattern. And this one is made with the Gentle Arts as well, with the current color. And let me take this out here. Here's the red currant. It's sort of a deep red and a medium red. And I believe the green is, yeah, blue spruce. And those two are really very pretty together, very rich Christmassy colors. Notice I bought a lot of Gentle Arts thread. And I believe this might even be on 28 count. And I haven't really gotten very far on this one either. And that's this one. You can see it here. And so hopefully I can get to that one. I have another big toe design, which I'd like to finish up here. I started working pretty heavily on this one, the books of the Bible, and then I got distracted with Apostles' Creed because I was going to give them, or one of them, as a gift, and I was working on books of the Bible, and then I saw the Apostles' Creed, and this one got put aside. But this so far is the books of the Bible, and I'm not even halfway yet. Love the fabric stuff. It's Stephanie's Hand-Dyed Fabrics in color Forest Bloom. And let me see what count, 32 count Lugana. Beautiful fabric. She always does such an awesome job. Wish I had that talent, but maybe not, then I'd even have more WIPs. Okay, another Christmas piece that I'm working on, and this one's by Stony Creek, and this is part of my Afghan series. And this one is Christmas Village. And as you can see, there's a lot to it. And it comes in book sections, and I've only bought 3 so far. And then I'll buy more. And it's stitched over 2 on 20 count Lugana. And so it's really easy. And why I'm not working on this one, I don't know either. Because I'm too busy distracting looking at new patterns probably. But this is just the itty bitty corner of it. But it has been so much fun stitching it. It really has. Loving it. Here. And there's all kinds of specialty things with it. Well, it calls for all DMC. And then it has this color in it, this blue variegated, and this is 4020, the blues. So I'm anxious to see this on the Afghan. And then it also stitches with Krennic, which I'm not really a big fan of metallics, and I'm wondering how it's going to wash up. But I'm thinking over 2 on 20 count isn't going to be bad. But it has a pretty green. It has gold with it. We have sort of a, it doesn't say what color this is, but it's sort of a Caribbean tealy blue. And then we have a beautiful deep purple. And of course, Christmas red. So that is the specialty thread that comes with it. And as you can see, I've only gotten just a little bit done in the corner, and it's a big Afghan. But I think once it's stitched, it will be absolutely beautiful. Sometimes you just have to be in that mood to stitch Christmas things. Here's some of my DMC for that. And this I put on bobbins. I have a couple other patterns. This one was a free pattern, and it's still free, and it's called ABC Marquardt, and I believe that's how you pronounce it. And I did this with Gloriana Blueberry, on 36 count. If you can see that, it's beautiful. But I happen to have made a mistake in here, and I only have so much Gloriana thread, and so this has been sitting on the back burner some time, but one of these little guys that I did, it's wrong, so I have to backstitch all the way back. So I'm hoping that I have enough thread to get this done. And so that's sitting on my pile. But I do have quite a bit of Gloriana thread. One of my absolutely favorite threads. I don't know if I actually have a specific favorite thread, but Gloriana is awesome. I just wish it wasn't quite so expensive. And then, of course, I saw someone else who had stitched ABC Marquardt. Matea, if you've ever been to her blog, she's a beautiful stitcher. I just love looking through everything she does. Magic Cross Stitcher, and that's her name, and her blog. And she did this on 36 count, I believe, with DMC. And this is Threadworks right in there. So you can see it, I just started this. And it's much easier to rip out when you have Gloriana, or I mean DMC versus Gloriana. Let me show you. And she lists the colors on her blog that she used, but this is the Threadworks. It's 1038 and really looks nice on flax. And I think, is that cherry cola, I believe. And then you have DMC 3802 and 3022, and the last one is 3861. So yeah, I saw her piece and I fell in love with it. And so I apologize, Matea, for stealing your ideas, but I have no fabric sense, and so I sometimes have to go off of somebody else's ideas. And my last piece is actually a knitted piece, and it's just the Afghan stitch, and there are 4 panels to it, and I'm just on panel 1, and I've used 4 skeins of yarn, but this is it. As you can see, I have 100 more rows to go on this, and if you can see up close this tight weave that it makes, it's very heavy, and like I said, it's taken me a long time to get this, but I have a pattern of flowers and hearts that I'm going to cross stitch on this once it's done. And because of working with yarn, I always put a back on it or sew a back on it besides. So I'm looking forward to getting this part done so I can stitch on it. Well, I think that's about all for my first video. I welcome all ideas as far as my rotations. I've just enjoyed this and showing my work, and hopefully I will have some kind of a close to finish or a good head start on many of my projects. So see you guys. Thanks for watching.